Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Jam Packed, where we explore how business leaders are reshaping the way we work with technology, creativity, and, of course, AI. Today, I'm joined by Michael from ReachPoint, a web development pro who's been building websites since the early 2000s. We dive into how his company goes way beyond websites, tackling UX, SEO, accessibility, and workflows, and why Michael says AI isn't a threat, but the ultimate business partner. So stick around for real stories, smart takeaways, and a practical inspiration that you can use in your own business today. Hey, Michael.
Hello.
How you doing today?
Not bad. Not bad.
Cool. Tell us
I
how
guess what
you are.
what day is it? Tuesday, Wednesday? Are we
Wednesday.
okay? So it's hump day. We're doing good.
Yeah, we're getting over it.
That's right.
We're getting over it. By the time people listen to this, it will be Friday. So
Got it.
read it.
And happy Friday.
Yeah, exactly. All right. ReachPoint. Tell us about who you are and ReachPoint.
Who am I? Well, ReachPoint is a web development company. Been doing it for a long time, since early 2000s. So we've been going through all the peaks and valleys and all the excitement. And now this AI thing, I feel, is like the whole internet. But still doing website design, internet marketing, web marketing for small businesses, medium-sized. I mean, we go from also nonprofits, so really small companies, maybe just starting out that need like a one-pager, or we're working with, Solano County Library, where we're building, a completely
Wow.
huge system and extranet for them, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes, the full spectrum here. But we build websites for the user. And it's so important.
Why?
The people who are using the website, right?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of UX and user experience and user interface. So we spend a lot of time planning and doing a lot of site architecture, like wireframing the site, that sort of thing,
Wow. Yeah.
before we even go into any kind of coding. I remember one time it was a client. Well, we got the design. I want to send it to our employees, and I'm thinking, okay, that's fine, but your employees aren't going to be using the site. I guess it's okay. It's feedback. That's fine, but why don't we post it out and see how your customers feel about it? Maybe.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Differentiating. So, okay, you mentioned web marketing and web design. So talk to me a little bit about the difference between those two.
Well, the web marketing would be SEO, search engine optimization, right?
Oh, wow.
So, doing keyword research, making sure the words are correct, that they're being used by, their customers. We do email newsletter campaigns, right? So we'll build lead generation pages. So if clients, are sending out any kind of campaigns, a 20% off thing, or if it's a nonprofit, it's a lot of campaign websites, they need donations. So they're doing an event. We're doing that right now with a couple nonprofits here. And so we design the landing page, and just it's one goal in mind, right? Whether to donate, whether to sign up for the event or buy tickets, whatever the heck. So we're doing a lot of that.
So you just mentioned a lot. So you mentioned you also are helping with SEO.
Yeah, I do have a guy who does that pretty much full time though.
That's that people have their own companies, just that. That's huge. And then you mentioned helping with newsletter campaigns. You specifically said the landing pages for newsletter campaigns. So are you guys developing the landing pages for these newsletter campaigns, or are you actively designing and creating and scheduling these newsletter campaigns as well?
It would be more the design portion of it.
It makes
I
sense.
mean, we assist with some of the businesses that need help with, some of the platforms. A lot of times we might be working with other marketing companies.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say recently or right now, we're working with a company that's working with a nonprofit here, the food bank, and they've hired a marketing company. And so I'm working with them. They're doing all the, they're sending out the text, they're sending out they've built the whole campaign, but they also need us to design, the landing page, for the donations, right?
Okay. So do you feel, and I'm only asking this because you and I have had the chance to connect a handful of times at this point. I feel like we're friends. Do you feel
Yeah,
like
I'd say that.
yeah, right? If I saw you at the grocery store, I'd be like, "Hey, Michael."
Hey, yeah, what's
It'd be random if we saw each other at a grocery store, seeing that we're in different countries.
this
But hey,
world is very small.
exactly. Um, do you feel like all of your clients know all of your offerings?
No, no, that's one thing. I don't want to say we struggle with that, but I feel like we offer so much, meaning just what's coming to mind is, okay, well, we help with accessibility. Is the website,
Yeah.
accessible to people with disabilities? That's a huge thing. And so we're building not a campaign, if you will, but really just something to remind people like, hey, this is something we do. We've done audits for clients. Is the site accessible? That's one. We do multi-language. We help with that, right? So we've developed sites that, that now this is not, Google Translate or something like that. Yeah, this is full blown. Okay, well, a copywriter, a translator has come in and the site can work, it's in English, it's in Chinese, it's in Japanese, or it's in Chinese and Spanish and English. So we do that as well. So I'm unsure if, a lot of our clients know that we do that, right?
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
think
it's really getting the word out.
okay, so you mentioned SEO, you mentioned newsletter design, you mentioned working alongside marketing campaigns, you mentioned accessibility, whether that's helping, make sure a website is accessible to any and all people with disabilities, without who speak multiple different languages. What else? I feel like we're missing a few.
Are we?
I don't know.
Uh, I know, no, it's like I got to go into my website and go, oh yeah, we do that too. Single page websites. That's a big one right now.
That's interesting.
Some people don't have a lot of content. Another thing, we have copywriters on hand, to go to. I know that's an issue for a lot of companies. What do I say? That sort of thing. Or I'll get you the content or the copy, in a couple days, and a month goes by, that sort of thing. So I'm always trying to push, to get people to hire a copywriter. I mean, they're worth their weight in gold when you find a good one, right? So they'll interview,
But why
right?
couldn't
And
you
get,
just ChatGPT?
yeah. But as we learn and then as we know that it's going to spit out what Chat GPT knows,
Totally.
which, and so, yeah, you have to, I mean, this is what Jam's all about, is that you gotta upload everything and anything about who you are, your voice,
Yeah.
right? And create a complete profile of either your company or yourself. And then you can go in, right? And then start asking it questions to help write for me and that sort of thing.
Yeah, you
And
have to
we've actually done that. Yeah.
for
And
you
we've done that
or for
for
you.
clients.
Okay.
Yes. These are some of the mind blowing things that, you know, ChatGPT will help you with. Because it suggested I was going through, okay, here's some copy and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it was almost like, hey, why don't you try this? Here's a copy content guideline. And it spit out questions for each page. So each page of the website, it said, okay, well, here are some questions to ask the client. And here are some examples of how they may answer. And then below that was kind of like a box for them to fill out their own content for the page. I was like,
Oh.
wow, this is great.
Yeah.
So now I'm working on something, a chat, a custom GPT where I can give it all the information right about the client, and then I can hopefully it'll ask these kinds of questions and prompt as it's going through the process, and it'll help write dynamically, right? Instead of sending them a Word doc. It's like I just say, hey, just go to, my custom GPT and go in there. Yeah. And then it'll write the content for you based on who you are and your voice and that sort of thing, right?
So it's almost like an additional service that you offer.
That will be, yeah.
Wow.
It's a big deal. I mean, it really is. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, and that seems to be the major stumbling block.
Yeah.
What do I say? Does it say it right? And then when you're designing, it's like, well, do we build copy first and then design, or vice versa? So there's always that, in between where you kind of have to do both at the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, so I wanted to come back to that because you've mentioned on a previous call and then you touched on it, but I think it's worth talking through a little bit more. You're like, I've been doing this, I think you said early 2000s, which feels like yesterday, but it was actually 25 years ago.
It feels like yesterday to me. It really does.
But you mentioned kind of like seeing these different waves of technology. And I would love to hear you talk through that a little bit more, particularly this new wave of AI and how it's affected you and your work life.
Pretty dramatically.
I bet.
My kids, which is bizarre. They're teenagers. Stop talking about AI. Stop talking about AI. Shut up. It's like, really? I'm like, shouldn't you guys be like, talking to me about it and, complaining to me about it? But
It's funny.
I see AI as how the internet was back in, late 90s and 2000s. I mean, it was euphoric. I mean, when I was in it, I loved it. It was unbelievable. You're making tons of money in the stock market, and, stocks were screaming higher, and, you can get hired anywhere, and everybody was on this plateau. And yeah, the bubble burst, but we came back around, and, the eBays and the Amazons are still strong. But AI to me is what the internet was back then. It's this huge euphoric thing, and the newness and the excitement around it and what you could do with it. And it's just mind blowing. And it's very hard for me to kind of wrap my head around all of this because, as you know, there's always something new that's going on. You got to check this out. No, and this builder tool and this, and you could do this, blah, 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 blah. It's just coming in waves. And
Jam
is kind of like
full-time job.
yeah, absolutely. And so, so I'm using it in my everyday life and also in my business. And I equate it to Costco had this, I think I mentioned this earlier on another call, but Costco had this campaign that it was think Costco first or something like that. That's how AI is, or should be, at least it is for me, is to think AI first.
Yeah.
You got a problem? Okay, let's go ask either ChatGPT or Perplexity, right? So Perplexity and ChatGPT helped me find this school for my son. Just recently, I had to help here in the building. Oh, Mike, can you come down and help? We have this problem with the projector. And I'm like, okay. I'm not the IT guy. If you're the web guy, you're the IT guy, right? There's a lot of, that seems to be the thing. I was like, okay, I'll come down, I'll help. And so got down there and looking at the wires or whatever. And then it's like, hello, take a picture of the remote of the projector and say, hey, this is what I got. It's an Epson, whatever. And then immediately ChatGPT is like, okay, do this, this, and this. Yep. No problem.
Fix it.
Fixed. Yeah. All done. And then I was like, oh my God, thank you so much, Mike. It was just, It's like I did the greatest thing ever,
So you've mentioned this term like euphoric, and I love that, and I think a lot of people can relate to that, and I think a lot of people, they think of AI and they are fearful, and we kind of joked about AI for copyright, and you immediately went to how it helps you with that, but I mean, has there been that concern of, oh my gosh, AI is going to steal my job? Or has it always been,
Mm.
no, I'm learning how to use AI to support me and my business?
Yeah, there's major fear. I mean, but that's also news, you know, that helps news, right? When you
Yeah.
see the headlines, yeah, like we're all going to lose our jobs and that sort of thing.
But what about you personally?
I I think that yeah, that's going to happen. That is happening. Though then you hear, oh, well, we had to hire some of those people back, but it's also going to be a job creator. I mean, people got to learn how to pivot and anticipate, right? Uh, and so there's going to be new jobs,
Yeah.
with AI. So whether it's robotics or in the healthcare industry, that sort of thing, there's going to need to be people to build these AI systems. There's going to be people that need to, train them and fix them, and then the hardware behind it, and you know, th- so a lot of jobs are going to change. Yeah, some are going to lose. Some jobs are going to lose. Yeah, all the robotics and stuff like that. People are going to have to work on those. So the electrician is not going to be the guy just installing a light bulb. He's probably going to be working on you know some of these major systems, right?
But what
So
about for you and your career?
I am concerned, and maybe that's why I dove into AI like gangbusters. I mean, I'm knee deep in it.
Cool.
And like I said, that's, I'm using it as a partner. I mean, it's like a second employee. I
Totally.
mean, it's wild. Maybe two employees,
Yeah.
right? You know, right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, before this call, I was listing out so many things that, we're doing. And it's just, the list goes on and on and on,
Totally.
whether it's, okay,
Yeah.
whether it's troubleshooting code. So rather than, going out to my lead programmer, which, yeah, may cost me a couple, hours worth of work or whatever, that's fine. But maybe he could be used for these high level tasks.
Yeah.
Maybe I just ask and, troubleshoot some code, my own. Oh, okay. Or do that. And then I can talk to my lead programmer, maybe, a little bit better.
Yeah, because
Right.
more speed.
Yeah. So, I understand the problem, but there's no way I want to deal with this. And then I could say, hey, this is what I need, rather than you investigate and find out what the problem is. So there's that.
Yeah, the
There's,
efficiency, saving time.
yeah.
Okay.
Uh, uh, so what was it? Artwork. So I have a client that's got all this art, but he didn't put it in. He just put up the design, meaning it's a painting, right? But all he did was put up the design, and I was like, well, that doesn't explain anything. So why don't we put it in a natural setting, right? So immediately upload to ChatGPT, put a frame around this, and put it in a library, or put this, put it on a wall, instantly,
Yeah, how long did
right?
that take you?
Yeah, it takes a few minutes at a time, right? But the awesome thing is that why? I asked it, why is the couch, or why is everything beige? Like, brown, a beige thing here. It's very mute, right? And it came back and it said the reason why I did that is so the painting will be the focus and not the couch or the bedroom or whatever that's in the
Well,
background. I was like, oh my God,
very cool.
So the things that you can learn from it as well, right?
No, I love that. You just reminded me. Deepak Chopra. He are you familiar with Deepak?
Yeah, yeah.
He is actually like going all into AI, and I'm gonna make a note too. share his resources. But he he was on a webinar, a live speech on LinkedIn the other day, and he was like, argue with your AI, and I just thought,
Yeah,
and he's like,
it's a great idea.
the why, and
Yeah.
you just nailed it. Like, in a world where we think AI is so in agreement with us all the time, AI could have been like, you're right, Michael. Let me,
There was a lot of that, right?
you know,
I know.
I know if you don't want to feel wrong, go to ChatGPT. But but instead you got this. Well, no, this is the reasoning behind it, and I still kind of stand by my answer from ChatGPT, and I think that's really cool and something that we should be trying to pull more from.
Yeah, and you mentioned that. I read somewhere or was told about ask for criticism.
Yeah.
Ask a chat GPT or these AI models to, critique what you're saying. Because, I mean, in the beginning, it doesn't seem to be as bad now, but you're the greatest, you're the best. And, well, that's a great question. And I'm like, are you serious? Every bloody question I ask? Yeah, right.
You're
You
so
know,
insightful, Michael.
I know. Yeah, it's got a little too much. What I want to tell you and a lot of people out there where I get a huge amount of my AI knowledge is from TikTok.
Really cool.
Incredible amount. And
Wow.
that's, I think I was saying, where it's like overload.
Yeah.
Like people are so willing to be these content creators and empty out everything they know, right? It's just mind blowing. I'm like, I can only take so many notes and
Totally.
find and test so many tools and stuff. But
Yeah. No, you
yeah,
reminded me. I there was a point in my life about 3 or 4 months ago where I looked at my saved. I don't use TikTok, but I do use Instagram, and I looked at my saved posts, and I was like, okay, half of these are workout, but I'm not doing them. So for some reason, it's so crazy that apparently just saving these does not actually help you lose the weight. And I had to make a change, and I reached out to a personal trainer, and I'm like, show up at my house 8 a.m. twice a week. Do not confirm the day before. But it was really because I went back into my Instagram and realized half of the posts that I had saved were these workouts that I was not doing. And I feel like that can be relevant to these AI, the content creators too. It's like, oh, that's a good idea. Let me come back to it. Oh, let me come back to that. Let me save this. But then the action is really, okay, are you following along? Are you taking the notes and then taking the time to actually do the things that they're sharing with you, this information that's being shared with you?
yeah, I totally. You mentioned that, and I have collections, they call them, right? And so I have the AI, and I got like 50 something or whatever. And a lot of times I'll email myself a link, right? But following up, and you mentioned a really good point. I mean, you could learn about everything and, research about AI, but really it's not until you start doing it, you know, that you're going to learn about it and what it's capable of. And and when you mentioned fearful, I was like, why would anybody be afraid of AI? But I was thinking of it in the terms of using it. When people use their computers or their phones and they're afraid to do that. Oh, if I press that button, then something's going to happen and it's going to be wrong. It's like, no, just do it, press it and try it. And and I guess fail at it and, and come back to it.
Yeah.
Right. But you just got to do it. And
You have to
remember,
do it.
yeah,
You can't just, I always come back to this idea of black holes, because you can have, let's chat, you can talk to Perplexity and ChatGPT and Claude, and they can give you all of this information and resources, but it doesn't do anything if you're not doing anything with it.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So one thing we did do, I mean, we created a custom GPT. For a lot of this is like for internal business. It's a lot of, so when we get a new client, we send them a customer survey, a questionnaire about their business and what do you want the website to look like and their voice and competitors and, their audience, that sort of thing. And it's this massive document, well, maybe 3 pages, and they answer this. And then I upload it. Now I upload that into ChatGPT as a project. And then we have a kickoff meeting where we go over that document and maybe a little bit more info. I take that transcript and I, upload it. So anything and everything, all the meetings, all the notes and everything are in this custom GPT, because what it's going to do is it's going to spit out a communication brief, or some people call it a creative brief.
Yeah.
Right. And this is the document that outlines the goals, who the audience is, the communication, the tone, and the perception of the website, and maybe kind of a one-liner, goal or key message that we want to have for the site. And then that's signed off. And then everything that's done in and around the new website goes back to this document, right? So if the client goes, well, we want to add this and this and that, it's like, well, maybe not. What does the brief say? That's not our target audience, right?
Going back.
So anyway.
We talked about
yes.
Yesterday.
So a lot of times it would take, take a hour, maybe a couple hours to write out that whole thing, because you got to get the notes and, what did they say, and take this and then that. And you have to write out this whole brief. Now it's done in a few seconds, but you got to post edit, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's brilliant. I'm like, oh God, this is so awesome.
You just made me think of something, Michael, and I don't even know if I can articulate it, but you're hearing a lot of people say that they're using AI to be more efficient. And it's almost like you're seeing these gaps in these days. People are almost feeling like, okay, I need to be more busy. I need to be busier. I need to be busier. But I'm wondering, it's kind of an illusion, because in the past, you would have spent hours working on that creative brief. Words are hard. But now you do it in seconds, and now you have these 3 hours back in your day where you're kind of like, wait, I could be doing something. I should be doing something with this time. Am I making sense?
Yeah, it is absolutely a time saver. I was thinking you were going to go the opposite, where they're on these AI systems all day, where they're not getting any work done.
Well, no.
Where they're constantly,
using
in
AI.
this whole arena where they're actually wasting time rather than having it help them, maybe save time.
Yeah, no, I'm just wondering if we kind of have like built this illusion that we're like not staying as busy as we used to because we have these efficiencies. Like we're able to do these things that once took 3 hours that now take 15 seconds. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And employers are noticing that, and they're putting a heavier workload on employees. At least that's what I just read just recently.
Interesting.
Oh, now that you guys are using AI, okay, now you have all this extra time. Now you could do twice, the amount of workload.
Right? Yeah. No,
which is kind of scary, because, you don't want to push people too far. I mean, that's one great thing about having our own business, is that we get to choose that sort of thing. Another thing we built with AI, we built a workflow system, not too sophisticated, but we have a support ticketing system where we were paying for a ticketing system, and it was just either too much, or we didn't need all the bells and whistles. And we use ClickUp, which is a project management tool.
Do you like?
I was hoping, and that's kind of like, what do they call it? Truth of one source, or I can't remember. Anyway, you're supposed to have everything in ClickUp, right? And which is great. We got our CRM in there. We got all our projects. Everything is inside of there. And I was hoping, okay, well, when someone requests a support, they have a problem, that it would go into ClickUp, and then we would manage the whole process or support ticket inside of ClickUp. Well, they don't have anything like that. I tried to Tried to build it, didn't work out. Anyway, so I created a system where the email comes in to an email address, a mailbox. It comes back saying, thank you very much. We got the ticket. An alert comes to me or any support staff to alert that a ticket has come in. And then a task gets created in ClickUp. So all this is happening just by one email getting sent. That was kind of the problem. It was like a lot of these systems wouldn't work if someone just sends an email to the support, right? Like a lot of these systems were like, well, you got to build a form. And I'm like, well, my clients don't fill out a form. They just want to send an email and ask for help.
You're not trying to filter out leads.
Right. And so I used ChatGPT it didn't build the whole thing, but I said, hey, we're on Microsoft platform, and this is another thing. It suggested, hey, why not use Power Automate? I'm like, what the hell's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't even.
So it's a program inside. It's a flow system, kind of like Make and Zapier, but it's inside of Microsoft.
Yeah.
And so then I just went through ChatGPT and said, hey, this is what I'm doing. Here's a screenshot. This is the screenshot. This is what I'm looking at. Oh, well, try this. Try this. What you need to do is this. And yeah, and now it's built. And again, another time saver. These emails are not coming into my personal inbox, right? Yeah.
Well, no, and I think to your point, these workflows, and I know personally, it goes back to this, like, not just saving it in your Instagram or TikTok collections, right? It's like, okay, sure, have it create this workflow for you, but then take the time to make sure that you are implementing it and that it's working in your favor.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of hiccups, believe me. Yeah, where it would go into this loop because I don't know, something about a reply or whatever, and then it would spit out, thank you, thank you, thank you. I was like, oh my God. Anyway, we totally fixed that, but it was little things where it recognized if there's an RE or FW in the subject line, that to not send out the alert email, thank you very much, right? I know, it's just something simple like that.
Wow. And did you note that, or did ChatGPT note that?
I think it was a bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of times I'm like helping it out or vice versa.
Totally.
Right.
So how do you see yourself growing in your AI journey in these next few months? How do you want it to work for you even better than it is?
Well, it's I guess the same way, building a lot of these internal systems, to either help my clients or us internally, like I said, with that content input, custom GPT, that's a big one.
It's huge.
Saving time, that way.
Michael, I really think, just talking to you, I'm like, okay, Michael from ReachPoint, they build websites. And the more I'm talking to you, the more I realize how much more you're offering. You just mentioned these workflows for your customers, and you're so much more than just like designing a website. And I'm enlightened by this call just to learn how much more than what you're doing out there for your clients.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for that. Because a lot of times you can't empty all this stuff out when you go to a mixer, right? You're shaking hands with people. It's like, oh, what do you do? And it's like, okay, web development. We design websites, but it is a heck of a lot more than that.
Yeah.
What you were talking about in the future, what we want to do, I really would like to get the word out a lot more to my clients about using AI in their business. Cool. So like some of the stuff that we've done to improve our, workflow systems, that sort of thing, like how could it be used, maybe internally or, even via the website. I know you got a chatbot on your, on your site, or, have it take phone calls and that sort of thing, which I'm like, really? We're doing that? Does anybody not like talking to a person? Come on.
No, let's Actually, I'm curious. Are you getting calls? Do people actually call you that aren't like scammers?
That's all. I feel like that's all I get is scammers. Meaning I was saying on TikTok and a lot of these, oh, well, you could build an AI where it answers the phone for you. Like someone calls the dentist office and, you get AI to set up the appointment. And I'm thinking, does anybody like being in that stupid system? Like when I call, damn near any of these companies and, and you're going through all these stupid prompts, what's your problem? And it does it. And,
So that's a nightmare.
and all you're doing is yelling, agent, agent, agent. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Person. Yeah. Right. Representative.
Yeah,
I just want to talk to a freaking person.
No,
So,
there are right ways to use there are correct ways to use AI and automations, and there are incorrect ways. And I think Michael
yeah.
and I are here to
Right.
say phone calls are not it.
Yeah. I did just get an email from a colleague who was like, wow, Mike, so awesome. A lot of times I call and I don't hear anything back from anybody. You're so responsive. And I'm like, nice. That's good. That's how we
Getting
want it.
those 3 hours back in your day from not doing this great
Yeah, no kidding.
allows you to do
Plenty of time to answer the phone.
exactly. Cool.
Right. Yeah.
All right, Michael. Anything else you want to share with the world about you, ReachPoint, your AI journey?
I just say don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Use it. And also ask how to use it. One of a friend of mine sitting across from each other at the dinner table. Oh, I don't know AI. I don't know I don't know how to use it. What does it do? I'm like, well, why don't you just go to it and ask how to use it?
Yeah.
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 You just start somewhere.
Totally.
Yeah.
I talk about this all the time because the JAM method is just start, automate, monetize, right? And this just start thing, I feel like a lot of people get caught up in this idea of perfection or fear, but it's like just put one foot in front of the other. Just do it. Just do
Yeah.
the thing. Just try
Right.
it. Just
Yeah. I think it's the same thing that goes back to when I was in desktop or network support. And back in it's still kind of the same, but when you would get an error on your Windows machine, it would say critical error.
yeah.
Like critical, like the end of the world, like, I'm going to lose everything. It's critical. No, it's not. It's not critical. It's like all these things were built by, programmers, but it's that same thing, that fearful, I'm going to do it wrong, and it's just like, well, have like a 3-year-old or 4-year-old mentality where
Yes.
you just press a button and just do it and boop, 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 boop.
I know. I always say that I'm like my 8-year-old self with ChatGPT. I'm like, but why? But why?
Yeah, good.
But what
Right.
if this happens? And what you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
just
right.
curious. All right, Michael.
Yeah.
I'll see you next
Good to talk to you, Flora.
Tuesday on our business exploration calls. Best of luck with all the things you are keeping you busy. And I'm excited. On Tuesday, I'm gonna be like, hey, Michael, how did you tell your clients all the services you offer? And I'm excited to hear you did that.
Well, I'll just ask ChatGPT to send it on its way.
Obviously. Have a
All
good
right.
one.
Cheers.
Talk soon.
Bye.